Howdy, listeners. If you are hearing this, congratulations, you aren't dead yet. This is Rusty Kyle, not to be confused with the Alabama Raider drag queen of this similar moniker, and welcome to Fun Facts for the Stupid Apocalypse. Take a moment and pat yourself on the back for clawing your way through another day in Jigsaw's wet dream hellscape. It's day 140-something in the checkerboard apocalypse here in the former United States. If you have been living under a non-American rock, about 6-ish months ago, some vengeful deity or rightfully pissed off earth nymph decided to give each of the 50 states a unique, personalized apocalypse. Raining hellfire, floods, plagues, nuclear meltdowns, and murder clowns are just a few flavors of God's all-American revenge fantasy. It's awful, really, and odd because all these disasters are confined down to the state's boundaries, like some sort of Doomsday Hunger Games or some trickster demons playing a satanic off-brand knockoff of the 2020 edition of Cards Against Humanity. Despite that, you are here, and if you'd like to continue existing, we have some tips and tricks in the off chance the apocalypse happens to you. But first, a word from our sponsors. So hungry you could eat a horse? Or something? Well, try out Three-Toed Tommy's Mystery Meat. If you close your eyes and douse it in a Taco Bell fire packet you found in the Denny's parking lot, it almost tastes like something that almost tastes like it almost remembers the vague taste of chicken. Hold up in the Chuck E. Cheese on East 192, come on by and bring shiny rocks. He sure does love shiny rocks. Yay, shiny rocks. Up to 5% completely unrecognizable, probably not human meat. Today's topic is picking the perfect place to hole up. Your apocalyptic man cave, your survival she-shed. This may be your home for an indeterminate amount of time or the dramatic scene of your likely gruesome Hollywood-style demise, so when in doubt, class counts. But really, what it boils down to is three things: shelter, location, and defense. Which is why in this episode I'll talk about my personal survival story and how I made my secure apocalypse bunker out of the one and only Ye Olde Times Jousting Dinner Theater. You laugh, but I have my reasons, and it fills the guidelines. Allow me to elaborate. When this whole Russian roulette of Hades started, I was living in Florida, and our state apocalypse was a zombie one. Original, I know. It's like, come on guys, get a little creative. Why not some super mutant children gone wrong sort of massacre? Sorry, I just binged Umbrella Academy. I never appreciated my cousin Dale's digital pirate collection until this whole thing happened. You want original? Just wait till you hear about South Dakota, but that is for another time. Sorry for getting carried away, listeners. I took an expired Ritalin and a muscle relaxer, and they're fighting to the death like a radioactive chicken fighting a vampire roach squatch. But anyway, Ye Olde Times, you think, hey, how does this fulfill my needs? Well, let me lay it out for you. At face value, it's a sweat-encrusted tourist magnet stocked with Jim Bro stable boys that grew up watching Jackass, but take it for its value without its entertainment plot. It's a castle facade, which doesn't seem very practical in the modern world of tanks and missiles, but when the world gets bitey and advancement takes a technological step backwards to the DIY and IKEA knowledge of crafty millennials, a castle looks nice. But take a deeper dive. Huge kitchen for food prep and storage. An outside enclosed training ground to plant crops. A full workshop to fabricate tools and defenses. And oh yeah, a fucking armory of real iron swords. A gun is great, but which BuzzFeed video taught you how to process gunpowder and pack a bullet? Any kid who built their own lightsaber at Disney knows how to swing a sword, and it never runs out of bullets. Not convinced? Let's magnify and get creative. We repurposed the stage lights to illuminate a 100-foot kill zone around the Ye Olde Castle. We took a few solar panels off nearby vacation rentals to provide just enough power for creature comforts and fabrication. Not crazy enough? As we scavved the surrounding area, we took car bodies off of chassis and mounted them on the axles to create a movable wall once we clear the area. Crazy? Yeah, we know, but we only had 3 board games and we got hella bored after the 37th game of Pokemon Monopoly. That was a lot, so take a moment, but not too long because time is precious in Satan's playground. How does this zany cry for the sweet, sweet milk of tourist bucks turn into our Deus Ex Machina? Let's look at the criteria. 1. Shelter. Well, for the obvious start, it's a huge arena with a nice roof and big walls. Great providing the bare minimum of shelter, but it also provides means to fabricate more shelter, room for farming because Chef Boyardee will soon be a distant memory as the entire area is scavved and sodium-enriched goodness is expired goop. We were able to plant potatoes and corn pretty soon, and not only did we fill our bellies with every way God's gift of starch can be prepared, we also were able to distill ethanol as a cheap half measure for gasoline replacement, and the best way to get plastered when you aren't on watch duty and the barrel of your 45 is getting real flirty. It's not about shelter, but something to keep you safe with all the amenities to survive. 2. Location. Since Ye Olde Castle is located near a tourist center, there are so many watershed and purification plants nearby. With some creative plumbing and rigging of rain catchers, we were able to turn one of the gentrified aesthetic water towers into an actual functioning one for freshwater, to water our folks and our crops. We are next to hundreds of vacation rentals for scavenging, thousands of abandoned cars for scrap, and next to a few possible expansions. The Islands of Imagination golf course is nearby, with tiny islands and water piping that can convert to a farm, and there's a half-stripped supermart nearby for textiles and odd ends, and 2 miles from the intercoastal waterway for trading. The important takeaway, however, is being near enough for scavenging, but far enough away from population centers so you aren't trampled by moaning flesh. Access to fresh water is key, but please always boil and use purification. Please see the attached documentation for absolute survival water filtration methods. Number 3. Defense. Lastly, but not to be taken lightly, is defense. You ever watch The Mist? Fun little alien supernatural story about folks hiding out in a store, much like the conditions in Nebraska, but that's for another time. The problem is a glass storefront. It is shredded quicker than my colon after Three-Toed Tommy's meat pies. You have to have something to defend against the horde of the dead and those psychopaths who remain. Story time. So, the other day we had a little visit from Tiny Philip and his Raiders of the Gaylord. It's a resort, not the lifestyle. And he was nearly instantly turned away by the sight of me and my fellow people against God's death plan, dressed to the nines in full iron armor with pikes, morning stars, and longswords. We looked like Game of Thrones before the last season, of course. Thanks, Cousin Dale. The Ye Olde not only provided tall walls, but a full armory of real iron armor, bite-proof chainmail, and dull weapons that could easily and quickly be sharpened. Tiny Philip looks punk with his necklace of severed fingers, but even he looks like a trailer trash gigolo when I saddle up Butterfinger and ride out with a sharpened 16-foot lance. I wish Facebook still existed, because that would have made for a great cover photo. I digress. The bottom line is that you have to be creative and work with what you have. One man's mildly popular themed dinner franchise may be another salvation in the stupid apocalypse world. Check the links in the description for this week's real tips, and please, be safe, and don't die, or I will have no more listeners. Till next time, Mad Max badasses, and remember, when you have no more reasons, survive simply to spite God. This is Rusty Kyle, signing off. Happy scavenging.